Hey guys, Izzy here, back with another video, and today I wanted to go ahead and talk about the Archon hunts. Now I know I'm a little bit late on talking about them, but I wanted to give my initial thoughts, and before I gave my initial thoughts, or just in general my opinion on the Archon hunts after doing them, I really did want to give it a little bit of time, and instead of just doing one Archon, do at least two or three. And so I did record a video yesterday for this, but then I figured, since I already have the third Archon today, I might as well do it. Since it's Wednesday at the time that I'm actually recording this, but I'll probably be uploading this on Thursday or Friday, I'm not sure. But basically, I already did all three Archons. I believe currently it's only three Archons. There hasn't been anything or any other being introduced. But currently we've done three, which is the Loki one, the Rhino one, and then this week the Mag one. And I feel like I can properly give my opinion on the Archon hunt in general, and I guess share what were my initial thoughts on it and what I think about it currently. And honestly, at the beginning I was feeling like it was more so a drag. But before I, get into it, if you guys have been out of the loop, basically Archon hunts are a type of sortie that you do weekly, in the sense that you have three missions that you do, two missions, and then at the end the third mission is always leading up to a showdown against the weekly Archon. And in this case it's basically just an assassination mission, but I guess you could say harder or more bullet spongy. And basically you have a reward table. You always get a crystal, which is basically like an artifact that you provide to your Warframe in the helmet system, and that provides the Warframe with a permanent buff, which is pretty nice. It's a nice addition to just being another arcane. In this case, it's just a crystal that you install in your Warframe, and you can take it out at any time, but it does take some currency to remove it. But at the very least, you don't just fucking lose it, which is fucking great, But anyways, aside from that, of course, you do also get a reward from pretty much the sortie table of rewards. It's not much of a difference, honestly, if at all. I do wish that it was better in the sense that it would provide more rewards than just one of each, or in this case, if it's going to provide me with Forma instead of just providing me with, well, I believe it actually provides you with three, but I digress. Like, the rest of the rewards feel a bit underwhelming, especially when you get something like a catalyst or a reactor. You only get one, and it's like, I kind of feel like I probably deserve more than just that, but that's besides the point. Basically, that's how it works. It also has the feature from arbitrations, where you get a buff on a specific Warframe and a specific set of weapons, which is pretty nice. It does incentivize people to actually use different types of Warframes, but sometimes it can be extremely useless. Like, for example, for this week's buff, I actually had a buff for Loki, and it had 300 strength. What the hell am I going to do with that? I have no fucking clue, but hey, thanks for the buff, I guess. I still ended up using a plethora of different Warframes, and I did actually use Loki for the first mission, which was actually a rescue mission, so I guess there's that, and I guess the strength helped me for, I don't know, nothing at all, but that's besides the point. Basically, that's how it works. It also does have a couple of different debuffs that it provides you weekly. I'm not 100% sure if these are going to be different every week. However, one of the debuffs is, of course, permanent, which is if you die, you die. You don't actually respawn, and it's not like in arbitration, where previously in arbitration, before they fix it, if you went down, you automatically died. In this case, you go down and you have to be revived as usual in any mission, but if you don't actually get revived, you're just going to die. Like, you can't do anything, you can't respawn, and you have to do the mission again because you won't be eligible to actually get a reward. So if you're doing a defense mission, yeah, that kind of fucking sucks if you died just in time before they ended the defense mission or were about to finish it off. So yeah, that's one thing. I mean, just don't die, you know? Just kidding, but yeah, it's a little bit annoying when it happens, and it has happened to me, unfortunately, but yeah, whatever. Anyways, that's pretty much how it works. It also has other debuffs like no consumables, though I'm not sure to what extent that no consumable means, because I have been actually able to use ammo consumables inside these Archon quests. I'm not sure if maybe that's a bug, or I'm not 100% sure, but that's basically what it shows. Sometimes it does also show if they're empowered enemies, meaning that enemies are gonna be hitting much harder. And yeah, that's pretty much how it works. Literally just like sorties, but it's weekly, and it has additional features from arbitration, and it's at a much higher level, which it starts from level 130 and it's around a level 150. So it does make it so that the enemies are much harder to kill in a sense that, you know, versus what we currently have, which is arbitrations, which I believe starts around 60 or 80, and the sorties, which end at 100. So there's that. Now, what do I think about specifically like the Archon hunt itself, not the showdown? The showdown, I'll of course be talking about it, but I guess the journey towards getting to the showdown, it could be very underwhelming or pretty straightforward. For example, and I guess I'll try to use today's Archon hunt to kind of showcase that. Basically, today's Archon hunt had 2 missions before the showdown, obviously, and it was a rescue mission and then an interception. Now, rescue missions, obviously, not really hard, pretty straightforward. Interceptions, pretty straightforward, as long as you have like crowd control and, you know, you have some good damage to deal with the hard-hitting enemies or whatever. You're good. It's not really hard. All you have to do is just keep, you know, the towers alive, and or not alive, but on your side. So yeah, that one's pretty straightforward, and then you get to the showdown, and boom, bam, you're done. Now it could be much more annoying, like for example, in the case of the previous 2 Archon hunts that we've had in the last 2 weeks. We had a defense mission on the segment, and I was actually afraid that this would be a reoccurring thing, or a reoccurring theme, where every second mission is a defense mission. Because I'm going to tell you right now, those defense missions drag forever. Like, it's not just the level, it's more so the amount of units that you fight that are Eximus and Sentients at that level can be extremely annoying to kill. And also, I guess it does kind of depend on the faction that you're fighting against, or whatever, but specifically, defense missions drag on forever. 10 waves could take up to 20 to 25 minutes, which is, you know, it might not be a lot of time. You might do like a relic or so, you know, with that amount of time, or waves, or survival, whatever. But for a mission that you're trying to get to the last showdown so that you're able to finish off the Archon and just get your fucking rewards, it could be extremely annoying and drag on forever, especially if you have like if you're playing with randoms, there's a good chance that you get paired with like a very colorful team and not a good comp at all. So yeah, it's not a great experience. So my initial thoughts on the Archon hunt itself felt like it was very, very underwhelming and not fun at all. When I was fighting against the Rhino Archon, I was extremely stressed out at the fact that this motherfucker had a couple of fucking moves that could absolutely fucking one-shot me. And if it wasn't just the motherfucker, the motherfucking Archon, it was the Eximus unit, the volcano one that like does a straightforward AoE that it looks like eruptions from the floor. That shit hits so fucking hard, and it comes out of fucking nowhere at times. It just fucking one-shots you. I currently am, or have been, using Oberon with Phoenix Renewal, so it has helped me out a lot. at least until I get the hang of pretty much like the movement that I have to have in these sort of missions. But I did replay these Archons multiple times to get a better feel of them and kind of learn like the patterns and such, because I don't want to just clear it once and just not do it again, because then the next upcoming weeks we're gonna have the Archon again, and then it's gonna kind of be annoying to kill because I didn't really learn to take it down. Now the wolf one, which is the rhino one, wasn't really as hard as this current one that we had, and it's not because of the like it's not even the difficulty. It's more so the fact that I have no idea that the mag one, the snake one, had healing capabilities. So that bitch was healing on me like no tomorrow, and I was like, how the fuck do I stop her from even like healing? And I mean, I guess I figured out that I do still have to hit her, like maybe in the back, I believe it was, because it does generate like a force field in front of them, and it actually, you know, heals her. I actually thought that I had to kill enemies that were around her, and I was failing, so it really took me a lot of time to actually kill this motherfucker, but I was able to clear it out. It took me a while, but it's not necessarily hard. It's just it can be extremely annoying to figure out, I guess, the mechanics, which is good. It's good that these boss fights actually have mechanics that you need to do, and the in-bowl phases. Typically in-bowl phases are absolutely terrible, and I never like want to have any of them. But at least the in-bowl phases that these enemies have, are phases that aren't timed. It's more so, well, you have to do the specific thing to stop that inbound phase, and voila, it's not an inbound phase where it's doing an animation and you are standing there absolutely doing nothing until it stops doing that animation. Not at all. And that's, at the very least, it feels better, I guess, than some of the boss fights that we have that have those inbound phases. Now, once, of course, you do get to the showdown, of course, you fight against the Archons. There's a kind of unique aspect to doing these boss fights, because they all have like two phases. The first phase and then the final phase, but in the middle there's a phase where you actually have to unlock a gate to get to the final phase, and you fight against these two priests that have two enemies tied to them. You kill the enemies that are tied towards them and then kill the priest to get the key, and then you do that 2 times in order to open the gate. And I feel like that's a pretty cool mechanic. I wish it would be more expanded upon, and I feel like I wish that it would be different for each Archon, because thus far the 3 Archons that we fought, all Archons basically, have the same mechanic for the gate, and I just wish it would be maybe a little bit different. Instead of, you know, going out there and killing you know, the priest enemies, you actually do like a mobile defense for at least a minute for each objective. I mean, a minute, it's just fine, you know? I feel like that's not gonna take too much time. I mean, anyways, these motherfuckers take time, so it's whatever. And these are weekly missions, so I understand that you can do these missions, you know, once a week at least. A mission this day, or not once a week, sorry. You do this once a day, so you finish one mission today, tomorrow you can finish the other, not to overwhelm yourself. But honestly, I've been doing sorties for too long to not feel like I just have to finish them in just one fucking day, you know? And I don't want to end up like I did with the Rhino one, where I did it in the very last day because of power outages or whatever. I won't get into that, but I had to do it in the last fucking day, and it was one hell of a fucking rush. But anyways, that's besides the point. They do have that mechanic in the gate. I just wish it was expanded upon a little bit more, and not just be this mechanic for all 3 of them. I wish it was a little bit different. It would add a little bit of priority to them. But yeah, the bosses themselves are pretty diverse. They're very different. They all have one similar inbound phase where they become invulnerable and spawn 2 enemies that you have to kill. For example, the Loki one has 2 sentience that you have to knock some spots in their body in order to kill them, which are annoying. Those fuckers are fucking annoying. I had to use my amp in order to kill them because I was not able to hit any of the spots with the weapons that I was using because the fucking hitbox for those is just atrocious. I hope that they actually fix that and make it a little bit better. But the Rhino one spawns, I believe it was just 2 regular sentient enemies. Well, not regular sentient enemies, but just sentient enemies themselves. Like not the, they don't have a special mechanic themselves, like or like feature. They're just 2 sentient enemies. You just blow through them and just kill them. Those probably are the easiest ones because they're not really too bulky and they're not very bullet spongy. And the mag one, it actually had 2 amalgam sentients or amalgams in general, which weren't hard to kill. They do hit pretty hard though, so there's that. Typically, it seems that it always spawns this floaty one that does the laser, throws out the laser at you, and a MOBA, or MOA. I think it's MOA. Yeah, an amalgam MOA. So, at least while I was fighting her, that's pretty much what she spawned always. So yeah, they all have that specific mechanic which is similar across the board, and also like the gate one. I don't mind that. That's fine as long as it's not an in-bone phase where it's just, you know, waiting for the animation to stop. I don't fucking mind it. Just keep me doing something at the very least. But yeah, those were pretty much like my initial thoughts, and now, you know, that I've played it throughout, it feels like it's going in the right direction, but it still can be better. You know, there's a lot of room for improvement. One of the things that was the most annoying, aside from, of course, the defense missions and just the journey towards the showdown itself, was the units that you, of course, fight while you're fighting the Archon. Can be very, very overwhelming. If, of course, you have some crowd control in your team, that's perfect. If you're a solo player, that's probably better, because the fact that you don't have to rely on your opponent or and your allies also doing damage. Because if you guys aren't aware, basically, when you are fighting with an Archon and it is a squad, or full squad rather, it has a lot more health than what it would have if you were playing solo. So I understand the reason as to why you do this, of course, because honestly, if you're just not going to do that, then you're probably just gonna run through it with a squad, which kind of feels like the point of running with a squad. But at the same time, it also does alleviate if you're playing with a squad, because you have people that could support you if they bring the right things or the right comp for the specific Archon, or just in general to support each other, I guess. So that's one way of looking at it. I did the first Archon with a squad, and it took forever. But I did the last 2 solo, and I've been able to manage it well. The only one that gave me a lot of trouble in terms of like having to try multiple times was the Rhino one, because it has a lot of one-shot mechanics, which I don't appreciate, honestly. That's probably one of the things that I almost forgot to mention, was the fact that there's a lot of one-shot mechanics that they have, or one-shot moves, that are so annoying that, you know, not bringing Overon or having something that could prevent that, it's just a death wish. It's just a fucking death wish. And in general, the Archons can definitely feel like bullet sponges at times, and hopefully that does get not fixed. Fix is not the right word. I just wish or hope that in the future they don't end up feeling that way, because sometimes it just feels like you're dumping your whole mag on this motherfucker, and you're doing like maybe 5%, and obviously it's not 5%, but it just feels that way. And another thing that I'm gonna mention, I wasn't planning on actually mentioning this in this video, but I honestly feel like there's an issue to be had with the fact that they did make the changes towards the ammo. If you have a very ammo inefficient weapon, low efficiency on that on your ammo for the weapon that you're using, or the weapon that you're using is very low ammo-ish, it is going to be extremely annoying to actually enjoy or do anything at all to these fuckers, because there is not a lot of ammo drops, at least throughout this, because of course enemies are much higher leveled. So if you're using up your primary weapons ammo to kill off this fucker, yeah, you're probably gonna not be able to get ammo because you have to kill the ads. Which is why I mentioned probably having a squad member in your team to maybe help out with that, maybe a tortilla or something like that, could probably alleviate some of this annoyance that could be formed. But yeah, that's one thing that I was kind of wanting to mention. I haven't had that issue much, but because currently I'm using the Fenmore, so it's very ammo efficient, especially because I mean you have that incarnation ability with it, so you're not really using a whole lot of ammo. But it can still be very annoying with any other weapon. I initially had tried with several weapons like the Ceto, Axeltra, and the ammo was just not enough, and most of the time I ran out of ammo very quickly and wasn't able to do jack shit. But anyways, that's pretty much my, I guess, my initial thoughts on it. If I were to give like any suggestions throughout this video, basically, was that I hope that in the future for the gate mechanic or the gate phase where you have to unlock the gate, they end up improving upon that and adding like different things to do instead of just killing these priests. You know, actually doing like a small mission like a mobile defense, like I mentioned, maybe even a hijack, a very short one at the very least, or something like that. Honestly, I feel like maybe puzzles would be great. Maybe I'm looking for a replacement to raids. Who knows? Whatever. maybe that's the case. Maybe that's the case. But aside from that, hoping that they do end up expanding the weapons, at least the priority of weapons that get provided to you, or like not the priority, sorry, but like the effectiveness of the weapons that get provided to you, because right now it feels like if you're not running certain weapons, you're probably not going to be able to kill the Archon, and you're just going to have to hope for someone that does have the weapon to join your squad and kill the Archon for you. And that's never a good thing, right? Obviously, because we want to have more diverse weapons, like more weapons being used rather than just like the main damage dealing weapons, and obviously the buffs to that provides the Archon hunt is incentivizing that. But a lot of the times some of the buffs are just not enough, or for example, the buffs that get provided to the Warframes could be better adjusted to the Warframes they're being provided to, because like I said, my Loki got fucking 300 or 500 power strength. What am I gonna do with that? Like, I'm not gonna do anything with that. That's ridiculous. Like, if you were to have provided me, instead of like damage or power strength, provide me with like duration or like range for specific Warframes that actually benefit from that, that would probably be better than just providing me with power strength. And I guess one last thing to add would be like the density of enemies when you're fighting the Archon could be lowered a little bit, so that it's not so overwhelming to the point where you actually have to like look over your shoulder every 2 seconds just to make sure you're not being like blasted by one of those hard-hitting Eximus units, whether it be like a fucking Chaos Blast Eximus or a volcano erupting motherfucker, or anything like that. Just lower down the density of enemies in the stage, and maybe don't have one-shot mechanics, and instead have very hard-hitting moves that, instead of being one-shot mechanics, could be potentially like something that could take maybe 90%, 80% of your health, if anything. But just one-shot mechanics I feel like are very cheap. But at the very least, a lot of them are avoidable. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I think that's all I have. I actually went over further than I actually expected this video was going to be. And I guess it's mainly because I included the opinion that I have currently now that I've fought with all three Archons. But anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Sorry that I babbled for too long, but I guess you guys watch these videos because of that. Let me know what you guys have experienced throughout the Archon hunts. Have you guys enjoyed them? Have you guys despised them? What do you think about it? What are your suggestions? Leave it in the comment section below. I'd love to hear you guys' opinion. And yeah. I hope I see you guys on the next video or the next live, whichever comes first. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.